As you walk through the valley of the shadow of hell, you will realize that there is something ahead. Something that lurks behind the dark veil. A veil that is beyond our own comprehension. Beyond the veil.
Hey guys, what's up? This is Alex and, of course,
Mike, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, we are here today to do something new because we're a bunch of horror nerds and we love fucking horror, right?
Fucking whores? Like,
yeah, we love fucking
okay
horrors. Anyway, on our next talk about Christianity, so we're trying to start something new. We're big horror fans. Mike and I just kind of like, he hit me up and said, "Hey man, let's do something."
Yeah, I have this insane background in horror and in film, and I watched a movie the other day or whatever, and I just spent like an hour walking around my house, like just pissed off how bad it was. And like the first person who came to my mind was Alex, because I know he knows his shit when it comes to fucking horror, man.
And I knew that you were into horror movies, but I had no idea, like, how much you were into horror movies.
I'm so hardcore into it, it's not even funny.
And I'm sure a lot of you guys who are listening, or a lot of not people listening, you probably know that when you meet somebody that has a lot of movies, it's kind of like a bromance in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude.
You latch to them. It doesn't matter if they're female, male. It doesn't matter. It's some sort of like horror romance. But anyway, so I guess we don't really even have a title right now. So we'll.
Yeah, it's pretty new. Well, I'd say this, being that it's a brand new show, we don't really know what we're doing. We're just going to kind of get our feet wet and whatnot. Right. Go ahead and, so what made you get into horror to begin with? What's your background? I mean, not only your background in horror, but your background, because I know you're in a band. I'm in a band as well.
Okay.
Give us some of your background.
Well, currently, I'm an artist, I guess you would call it, for music. I've been in a band for about 5 years, but I've been doing music and singing and shit my entire life. Even since I was like 5 years old, I think I was in like choir or something. You know what I mean?
In choir. You know what else I did too when I was a kid?
What?
I tap danced.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did it for like 5 years. But
that's awesome.
You might want to omit that, but now let's go ahead.
So what have you done with your tap dancing career?
I quit.
All right.
No, but I never left the stage.
So you heard that? Man. You heard that here first, kids. Give up.
But no, go ahead. That's all good.
But I mean, my parents are like huge, or my dad and my brother have been into music like their whole lives.
That's cool, man.
And my dad's been in numerous bands. He was in a band called oh my god, what a great son I am. He was in a band called The Morticians.
Oh, really?
Which was literally probably one of the first goth naming sounding bands.
It's pretty hardcore, dude.
They were more of a cover band, although I think they did have some originals. And I have a picture. I'll put it up in a link or whatever we do if you guys want to see it. But it's interesting. They look like goth Beatles.
Huh.
Like basically,
That's cool.
But my dad was a singer and bass player, and he used to be in bands. My brother's also in bands. Growing up, he did a lot of blues back in the day. Actually.
Oh, right on.
And he even moved to Texas to become a blues musician. So I've been around that. He plays piano as well, but I've been around that my whole life. And my parents are like noticed that I like to sing a lot, put me in music and shit. And years later, I did alto sax in high school.
Oh, that's cool.
I was really trombone. Into jazz, like for a little
real
while
trombone,
there.
Not rusty trombone.
What's that?
I said I played trombone, but like real trombone, not rusty trombone.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, my jaw hurts. But yeah, man, I guess like after being in band and jazz band and all that shit, I just wanted to continue on. I dropped out of band because I felt like really geeky, I guess.
Oh man.
And I also started becoming friendly with life utensils. Probably getting high. So then I started playing guitar and everything. And then
right on.
Fast forward to today, I pretty much have been in a band called Black Ops, working on some side projects. Nice. I've even done hip hop, and I'm working on a new synthwave project. But yeah.
I didn't know you did hip hop. That's badass, dude.
Yeah, I was actually doing it for, I can't say for who, but...
Because as a side note, I've always wanted to do... I don't listen to a lot of like rap, but I do listen to some like old school hardcore stuff.
Okay, yeah,
like,
me too.
Like Ghetto Boys and stuff.
Sure.
And I always wanted to do like a hip hop project.
Dude, you know, it's funny because me and Bender, who was in Black Ops, if you guys don't know, he and I wanted to do a rap project, and then I got one of my buddies who I played video games with literally for like 7 years, happens to be friends with this pretty well-known band that kind of disappeared in the 90s and was huge. And they asked me to do music, and I was like, fuck yeah, I'll do it. Oh,
dude, that's badass.
But Bender didn't want to do it, so I hooked up with Mike Jenny, who you guys may or may not know from
Who is incredibly fucking cool.
So what about you? What is your background, and what do you do?
First of all, I have a bottle of Jack Daniels. I'm going to have some right now.
And hand that over when you're done.
I'll drink right out of the bottle because that's the kind of person I am.
Dude, that's what I do. Yeah, it's like we're kissing.
Anyways, as far as my background, like... I could go really well. First of all, I'm in a band as well.
Right, of course.
I'm in.
And which band are you in?
I'm in a band called Hardwire. It's industrial metal. I play guitar. I do vocals. My guitar style, I guess you could say, is like a little bit of Ministry, a little bit of Megadeth. I've stole everything from Günter Schultz.
Nice.
And my vocals are very similar to Max Cavalera from. I think so.
Yeah.
From
it's kind of guttural a little bit.
Yeah. But as far as horror background, man, like
I probably should have done that, but you know.
Oh, you mean your background, your horror background?
Yeah, well, I meant I didn't know what we were doing exactly.
Oh no. Oh.
So I didn't know if I should go into horror or not.
No, you should go. Dude, tell me your background.
Well, the show about me. As far as horror and my background, then. Since I'll do this and we'll get that out of the way and we'll move on to you, I probably went way too much into the music thing, but I'm obsessed with it.
Well, it's important, dude.
And it plays a part in why I do music and horror as well. So, but I guess with horror, my dad he was one of the only parents that I knew that had a massive collection of movies. And he also had a lot of horror movies. We are also one of the first people that had video cameras. Like,
wow, dude, wow.
Nobody I knew had a video camera. I mean, my small suburban little life. You know?
Yeah.
He used to have a lot of horror movies, and he would watch them, and they would let me watch these things. And they would say, if you're scared, just turn away, And, of course, I would turn away, hesitantly watching it through the reflection of the fireplace, cascading from the TV, and I got into that. And then, I'd always been obsessed with that because it scared the fucking piss out of me.
Oh, yeah, dude.
I had night terrors, bad dreams, like left and right, sleepwalking.
No, keep going, but I'm going to get into that too because I had some bad issues too.
Yeah, dude, I mean, I don't know if it was because of the horror movies, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But I think I just had an overactive imagination, and so my mind was always running 15 billion miles an hour. But, years later, I moved down to Florida and met some people who were into some really underground horror movies.
Oh, cool, man.
And they invited me over, and we watched City of the Living Dead.
Oh, dude.
One of the first Italian horror movies that I had experienced. And
Is that Fulci? I don't remember.
Which one?
Is that Fulci? I don't remember.
Yeah, it's Fulci.
Okay.
It's one of the 3 zombie horror movies, whatever you want to call it. He's done many, but those are the 3. But I watched that movie, and, they took it so seriously, and I got so into it. I'd never seen anything like that,
dude.
And I was so blown away by that. I was like, "Oh my god, this is amazing!" I was like, "This is gory, scary, serious, and fucked up." And that's what got me going. And ever since then, I've been involved in horror and so many different ways I can. So,
dude, that's pretty awesome. At least for me, when I think about it, and it's weird. Not to get super personal and super weird, but I had an issue with not only say issue, but I actually went to therapy when I was a kid.
Okay, yeah,
because I was so scared of shit.
Right.
I was literally like an Elm Street kid.
That's awesome. I didn't. I mean, it's kind of cool though.
I know.
It feels cool to me because I kind of did shit like that too. Because my family life was kind of crazy.
I didn't want to go to sleep because I would have night, like I said, night terrors.
Right.
And I would wake up middle of the night and I would have fucking crazy ass nightmares, and
Nice.
I did not want to go to sleep, and it was nuts, man.
I keep saying nice. I'm sorry.
No, that's right, dude.
Yeah, so you had really bad problems in your life?
Sweet.
That's
Cool.
awesome.
Thank you, dude. I appreciate it. but what I mean is like, but what it did was, though, it's the whole process of like, it all this shit really bothered me, but I started to study it, and by studying it, I learned to not fear it. You know, and
master it.
Yeah, you got it. And I really got into horror big time because of that.
Right.
You know, and I haven't talked about it yet, but like I've done a lot of ghost hunting and stuff.
Sure, yeah.
Ghosts scared the shit out of me, but because of the horror and the fear I felt as a child, it led me in that direction. So now I have like this. I don't know. I'm not scared of anything anymore, I guess you could say, which is, well, I'm scared of some stuff.
Sure, I was going to say, I hope so. Cause,
well, a little bit, maybe.
If you lose that fear, then there's no edge. You got to have that edge a little.
Just in general, films don't scare me.
Right.
The only thing I've ever watched recently that scared me, and I may have mentioned this, was the Ghost Adventures episode where they went to Ireland.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that old house, a 2-story fucking mansion.
Yeah, where he's following it, and he's following the voice, and the door closes.
I remember that.
That shit scares me. But movies themselves, I mean, outside of The Woman in Black, because that's pretty creepy.
Okay.
But,
yeah, you've mentioned that a couple of times to me recently. Yeah. I'm going to have to watch it again.
But gore doesn't bother me. Gore is, it's fun. I don't want to say fun, because gore isn't fun, but I like, not to like already get into the horror stuff, but a Serbian film.
Oh, yeah.
I thought was hilarious. I literally
it is
like
probably one of the best comedies I've ever seen.
Like Laura was all like trying not to like vomit, and I'm like laughing my ass off. I'm like, lol.
You know, and it's so funny because I know that a lot of people consider that one of the worst pieces of cinema, but
it's
honestly, I think
dude.
it's kind of up there. Cinematography, director of photography, whatever you want to call it. It is one of the most well-shot horror movies I've ever seen.
No, dude, it looks phenomenal, man. The acting is good. Everything cool is about it. The soundtrack is good.
Yeah, is it really a horror movie? I mean, I guess it's horror in the sense that it doesn't. Well, yeah, I guess it's horror, but it's almost like a thriller, like gone bad.
For me, it crossed this line of absurdity,
right?
And it crossed it so far that it wound up in this area of satire for me.
Right.
So that's why I thought it was funny.
It is a little absurd.
Yeah.
And to let you guys know, if you haven't read it, and I can't think of the director's name off the top of my head, and I apologize for that. We probably should have been a little more prepared, but whatever. We're off the cuff today. The director said that it was basically a allegory or a story about the economy in Serbia.
Yeah, I read that too somewhere.
The government versus the people, which is the most mind-fucking whatever I've ever heard. But he's an artist, so maybe that's how he feels.
I don't know. I liked it. I mean, it's of all the modern horror films I've seen outside of the classics like Chainsaw and Last House and stuff. It's one of the only ones in recent memory that actually like evoked any kind of emotion from me.
Right. Well, so you're saying that Serbian film kind of pushed you over the top into horror, or that it doesn't bother you because of that, the fear?
It's one of the few films that actually like went into areas that I wasn't expecting to go into.
Right.
So I actually stood up, clapped my hands, and I'm like, yeah, I can't believe this is actually happening on film. Because so many films don't do that because they're so fucking, scared to go in that area. And I don't know, man.
It's film. It's not real.
I know, but you're right.
That's what I don't understand when people get so offended and upset about that shit. It's not real. If it was real, yeah, be shocked, be upset. We're synthetically experiencing something.
Yep, you are correct.
It doesn't mean that just because you watch it, you're some sick, twisted fuck. It just means that you're, like any human being that has some sort of fear or whatever.
Well, it's important. I mean, horror's important. I mean, it's right on a roller coaster. It's jumping out of an airplane with a parachute.
It's kind of thrill seeking, I guess.
Well, it is, but it's like you need to experience this kind of stuff to some degree.
Right.
It's part of the human condition. I mean, just experiencing it. I mean, I don't have any desire to kill anyone, but I would love to live vicarously through someone else killing someone, just so I don't have to fucking do it.
Yeah, as long as it's fake.
Oh, no, you're right. Because, as long as it's fake.
Yeah, I think I had a guy who was once a rabbi ask me, and he was still a very spiritual, religious kind of person, and he's like, I was telling him how much I loved horror movies, and he was like, "Why do you think that is?" And it's kind of like what you said.
Yeah.
I was like, "Well, I guess I was always scared as a kid."
Yeah.
And it fascinated me that I was scared. There was like this, is there really this dark veil that we don't know about?
Yeah.
And what is our imagination pushing us past that point? Or what is it, And there was times in my life where I pushed myself to a point where I would be so scared out of my mind that I had to fight it to try to overpower it. Because it was scary, man.
I know, dude.
So, and I can't even imagine with ghosts and shit like that. That is one of the only things that really gets under my skin.
Ghosts?
Yeah, it's like I always feel like there's something behind me. And that's where I think I'm going way off the fucking course here, but I'm
okay,
just off.
dude.
We're off
It's
the
all
cuff, people. I feel like when horror movies show the monster too early
They blow
or reveal it, they take the fear element away. Because immediately you size up the creature, the thing that's scaring you. You size it up to be able to kill it, to get away from it, to whatever. And a lot of horror movies really miss that. They think, oh, I'll just throw some gore in, or I'll just throw, this weird tense moment or jump scares or something like that. But when you don't know what's there, your imagination is far scarier than anything that could ever be put on screen.
Dude, you are 1,000% correct. I mean,
because it's always personal. Like, that scare, that fear is very personal.
No, and not only are you technically correct, but like talking about Paul Verhoeven's, he did RoboCop. When he did RoboCop, he wanted to show people RoboCop,
right.
But it was so absurd. This dude who's like a robot cop, and he thought people would think it was stupid.
Right.
So there's a whole sequence where they show RoboCop in pieces walking through the scene. You don't quite see him all the way. You see him in pieces.
Okay.
Because he wanted to introduce him slowly.
Slowly, yeah.
To make it more tangible and
mysterious,
realistic.
yeah.
I'm kind of drunk. I'm just.
Well, so I mean, I think that's probably the root of a lot of people who are interested in horror. But I've met some people who are in horror, and they're like, I don't know. I don't know if they're either pretending that they've not been afraid, but I all feel like we're all fear junkies at this point, and we just want to get that edge again. It's like getting high the very first time.
There is, man. I mean, I think it hits some sort of something in your brain when you get scared. Some sort of adrenaline.
Adrenaline junkie.
And it because it does. I like being scared.
Sure. I don't want to be in a situation, but I like feeling like it. Makes me feel alive.
No, you're right, dude. It's a whole. I would have a good analogy, but I don't. But you are on the ball with that.
Yeah, I think we're pretty close to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, we're still kind of working out a format. We'll probably go over some news and things like that. Watch some stuff that we can see. We both watch and like have conversations about it. New, old, could be 70s, 80s. I mean, you name it.
I know. What's some of the things you want to talk about? Just
I don't
generally
know.
speaking.
I mean, I guess we could just kind of keep it simple for the first time and just kind of go over like some of our memories of what scared us or what has pushed us in different directions in life, career-wise or just hobby-wise or whatever. Personally, me, every time I've watched a movie or I started writing music and I kept thinking to myself, everything that I write is like the soundtrack to a movie.
Oh, okay.
Whether it's been made or not.
That's cool.
And every time I write music, I think of where I would be in that story or what the story would be, almost like a music video.
Yeah.
And that's been a huge thing of why I started writing music in the first place, is because I would always remember the music in a movie, which I think a lot of people are starting to learn to remember, that is very important now.
Yeah.
Especially with a lot of these throwback 80s style sort of synth wavy thing that's kind of becoming popular.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Horror is I've always that soundtrack, that score, that in the background with like slow moving cameras and stuff. I don't know. That really gets under my skin a little bit.
No, that's cool, man. I think for me, like, I don't know. I just.
Well, you're into music too, so I mean.
Well, yeah, I am as well, and I've actually scored some horror films.
There you go. Yeah, you've done more than me on that.
It's cool. It's I don't know. I just like horror. I like exploring the darker side of the mind
Of life.
I mean, and not just humanity, but like Like I was talking to you earlier. Like I don't necessarily believe in it, but I study magic.
Sure.
Like left hand or black or sigil magic because it's fascinating. I don't believe in it, but it's fascinating.
Right.
Just which we can have an episode on that.
Well, yeah, sure.
And the another episode I want to do, maybe we can do next if we just do another one.
Okay.
But, I have a handful of ideas for new projects I'm thinking about writing.
Okay.
And I could use feedback.
Oh, hey. Yeah.
Because I have a few that I was starting to gestate or whatever, or like get on the burner, and I put them aside because of some other stuff. But I want to bring them back, and I need feedback on what I can do with them.
It's weird. Like, I know that I should probably have written a lot of this stuff down, but I've repeated them in my head so many times that I've basically locked it away in my brain.
Oh, man.
Because it's always changing. It's always shifting. I have written some screenplays, but you've even sent me one, which I haven't even gotten...
Oh, it's all good. I mean, I
haven't gotten started on it.
That's all right, dude.
If you guys don't know, Mike has actually written a lot of screenplays.
Yeah.
And they're very detailed, and I haven't really gotten to read it yet. But he's really good at like getting all that out. He's worked for a lot of things towards movies that I wish I could have. So we're both kind of in the same
We could
thing.
have fun conversations about that.
Yeah.
Which we probably have.
I always felt like it's like I wanted to write music for movies and stuff.
Yeah.
But I always know that from what I've heard is a lot of people have like some pretty crazy deadlines. They're like, hey, here you go. Unless you're like some big known person.
Oh, man.
They don't give you much time. They're like, here's 2 weeks. Go ahead and finish the movie.
No, you're right.
And it's like, fuck.
I've run...
I write songs in like 2 to 5 months. You know what I mean?
No, you're right. Because I think the guys in the offices and the upper floors with the windows and stuff, I don't think they understand the creative process.
Yeah. So they put a little tight neck.
Yeah.
Because they don't really care. They don't really take into account
they don't understand because all they care about is the bottom line.
Right.
You know?
Which brings me to a point about remakes. That's something we could talk about. Remakes, I feel, is the same way. It's like they don't realize that these are pieces of art.
Yeah.
That successfully were made by hundreds of people sometimes, or just 10 people.
I know.
And those ideas are so artistic, and they strike such a chord with whoever watches them, they become cult followings, and so people want to create a remake for it. Mostly the executives, obviously, in my opinion, would be to just squeeze every dollar they can out of someone's nostalgia.
Yep.
They just want to choke fuck the shit out of someone's nostalgic, background so that they can just cash in on some easy money. What do you think about remakes?
It's tough because a lot of remakes. Let me say this.
It's a hot topic. I know.
Oh, I know.
It could go either way.
I'm not against them. Like I was mentioning earlier, like John Carpenter's The Thing was technically a remake.
Technically, yeah.
And it's fantastic.
It's one of my top favorite movies.
Oh, it's fucking phenomenal, man. And not only the Evil Dead remake, which wasn't bad in any way, shape, or form.
I will say this about the Evil Dead, and I'll keep it short and sweet.
Okay. Because we should do an episode on remakes.
And we will, but I will make a very short point about this.
Okay.
The original Evil Dead to me had so much memory and fear, and just my mind went to some other way, that seeing the new one, I felt like it was too localized to the flesh. Versus the original Evil Dead, where I felt like evil could come from anywhere. When they localized it to someone like you're infected because you got touched.
Okay.
By this evil, it took away that fear that scares me. So maybe it did well, because it did have some pretty graphic shit.
Yeah.
It was pretty gory.
Yeah.
But I feel like the essence of Evil Dead is that it's everywhere. That's I'll check. Like I said, I'll just keep that short.
I would go with the Rob Zombie's Halloween. Wasn't bad. I can't think of anything beyond that, really, because most remakes are just the studios milking the nostalgia and stuff. Sometimes they do nail it, but not. Well, let me say this. I'll give this something out. Granted, I'm totally drunk right now. But
this is where the truth comes out, people.
I saw this thing on Reddit the other day where somebody was talking about remakes, and they said, "Why the fuck don't studios?" Why remake good movies? They should probably be remaking shitty movies.
I think that's a good... I think that's a good rule to stand by for the most part. Although, I mean, for me, some of the top 3 that I can think of for remakes would be The Thing.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people argue is not technically a remake.
It's still
if you want to get super nerdy about it. But honestly,
okay.
that was what it was inspired from, is some book that was based off of the original movie anyway, or the movie was based off anyway. The Thing from Another Planet I'm referring. So The Thing, The Blob, 1988.
Oh, dude, you're right. I didn't think about that.
Probably one of the best remakes I've ever
phenomenal,
seen.
dude. I didn't fucking think about that.
That's probably in my top 5 or 10.
It is fucking great, man.
Another movie that I feel is probably a really good remake is Dawn of the Dead.
Oh, dude, that is fucking great, man.
Yeah, like that. I don't know why, but that could have been fucked up really bad.
Oh, I know, dude.
And they did a good job
They
of
did
it.
the fucking opening fucking handful of minutes.
Yeah, the 10 minutes was like,
dude,
I remember they aired the first 10 minutes live.
And
they're like, check out this movie, and everybody went fucking
My head
nuts.
fucking exploded. It was so
Yeah,
badass.
dude. The way she fell in the tub,
Oh, dude.
it was intense.
I know, man.
It was really, really intense, and
It was
man,
badass.
I was so
Shit.
glad to be back in the mall. Like, I really was. But yeah, man, like, I don't know. Those are the top that I think. I mean, I don't mind Halloween. Like, I think it's a good movie because it's unique and it does its own thing. I think it gets a little slow in places.
Okay.
And
I've not seen it. I have not seen it in a while, but
yeah, I don't know. It just feels like it stalls out a little bit.
okay.
Evil Dead, like, I own it. Like, you can see it right there on my shelf.
I need
right
to buy
there.
it. I mean,
I bought the like special edition Target metal steel case version, on Blu-ray because I had to have it. Even though when I saw it in the theater, I was like, this is cool, but they missed the most important element. Some people were turned off by the druggy, like, heroin user side of it, which kind of was cool. I thought it was a good idea.
I don't remember.
Dude, Evil Dead, when I was a kid, like, the first one was the scariest fucking thing. The second one was like, oh my God, I'm laughing, but I don't think I should be laughing because this is kind of fucked up. But the new Evil Dead, it just kind of feels like, man, I don't know. Like, I feel like they missed that essence, the essence of it. He did a great, like, cinematography was great. The gore was great. The acting was pretty great. The nerdy guy with the glasses was my favorite character in the whole fucking thing. Because I thought he was going to be the new Ash. I was like, please be the new Ash. Be the new Ash. Be the new Ash. And it was that chick, which apparently they're making another sequel or something. But I've totally blown that, and we could have saved that for a whole nother episode. But yeah, whatever. So what else do we talk about? So what are some things that you're into in real life? You've told me about this personally. Maybe we should share with everybody else.
What's up?
Well, we've talked about things that scare us. And one of the only things that scares us is probably ghosts.
Yeah, I do a lot of ghost stuff. Not as much lately, but yeah, I've had some pretty bizarre personal paranormal experiences, and I'm pretty skeptical when it comes to the paranormal. But I've had some weird experiences. I mean, I've done some. I used to have another podcast.
Jack, sorry.
Oh, he needs a Jack.
You used to have another podcast, though.
Yeah, called Miskatonic Paranormal. I've investigated the Queen Mary, the Stanley Hotel, the Birdcage Theater.
It's fascinating, dude. I wish I could do that shit.
It's weird because, like, well, not weird, but I have some pretty specific views on the paranormal,
right?
And how things are, and
I would say, and since we've talked about this, I would say you're pretty much a pretty big skeptic. You're an open skeptic.
Yeah. I mean, there's something to it. Yeah. But
you just can't define it.
You got it. I mean, like I mentioned to you, like I've captured a lot of EVPs, but capturing EVP doesn't prove that the paranormal exists. It doesn't prove that life after death exists. All it proves is that you can capture an EVP.
Right.
I mean,
and we don't know if that is because there's God and the devil.
Yeah.
We don't know if that's because emotion leaves a stain in existence.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't know if that's because, I don't know, maybe sound just stays in a room. We don't know.
You have no idea. I mean, like, and I mentioned to you too. A lot of the paranormal is just people, and like not to just make the same quote, but A lot of the paranormal is people walking outside, looking at the horizon, and saying that the Earth is flat.
Yeah.
They don't. They have the result, but they don't know what's causing it.
Right.
They just conjecture, and they think they know what's going on, but they really have no fucking clue.
Well, what would you say is probably okay? So first, tell me what is the most haunted place that you've actually done some ghost work at, and then tell me what is the scariest one that you've been to, and maybe like a personal story that wasn't even with ghost hunting.
I think it was a husband and wife, their 4 kids, and 2 friends that were over for the night. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. My math sucks. I'm drunk. But anyways, somebody was hid in the house overnight. They don't know if they hid in the attic or where they hid, but the guy came out and bludgeoned to death everybody sleeping.
Wow.
And he used the blunt end of the axe.
Which is weird. Like, if you're going to kill somebody, why?
I don't know, dude.
The blunt.
I'm not a murderer. I don't fucking know. I never killed anybody.
It just makes me confused.
But the other thing too, basically he killed a bunch of people. He killed a husband and wife, their kids, and then 2 friends that were staying over the night downstairs. He killed all of them. The town was so small they didn't know how to deal with like murder and forensics and stuff.
Sure.
They just left the bodies for a couple days. The cops did, because they just had no idea what they were fucking doing.
They were like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I know. The guy who runs the place is really cool, and you can rent the place for a couple $100 and
okay,
stay there overnight.
So you rented this place?
Yeah. You can sleep in the house if you want, or you can sleep next door in the barn. And we didn't really sleep in the house because I didn't have the balls, like, to be honest. It was fucking horrifying, man. It's the kind of place that, like, you're driving down the street and you see it, and, like, your dick just shrivels back up into your own ass.
You're like, yeah, I'm probably not going to sleep in that place.
It's horrifying, man. That is the most horrifying experience I've ever had.
Oh.
Hands down.
Well, what happened there, and what happened in particular that was...
Nothing specifically to me. I had a friend of mine. Let me say this. Okay. The guy who runs that place said he doesn't believe that it's being haunted by the kids or the parents. He thinks something else has been drawn there.
Okay.
So he said if you want an experience, if you want to get evidence, you need to push the house, because if you push the house, it'll push back.
Okay. So, like, call it out.
Yeah. So we started out the investigation of being really nice. Like, hey, kids, we have these toys and let's hang out and stuff. And, and nothing was happening. So then we're like, you know what, fuck it. Let's just, like, be vulgar. So we spent, like, an hour and a half being like, fuck you, you fucking cocksucker, fucking ghost. Although I did, before every time, we would say, like, hey, this isn't, I'm not trying to be angry towards the kids or the parents.
Right.
This is being directed towards the evil entity that's here.
These ghost parents were horrified at the shit that you were saying.
So really, we provoked for like an hour and a half, and I had a friend of mine that went into the house, and he got slapped in the face and then had his shirt pulled. And then Ryan went in, and Ryan just like ran around the house really fast, and he had nothing happen to him. And
Ryan is a part of the band and Hardwire that he's in, by the way.
And then I didn't go in myself. I didn't want to go in by myself. I didn't have the balls. It was fucking horrifying, man. I'm not even joking. Like, literally, like, imagine like a location or a house that every molecule in your body was telling you like not to go in there.
Yeah.
Like, it's bad. It was bad news. Bad. I got touched on the face twice in the house.
Well, how did it feel? Like, what did they do?
Well, I felt like on the one side of my face, it felt like where I was in the attic, because that's where that's one of the more haunted places, I think, in the axe murder house. I think it's the attic, and they think that's where the killer hid out before he killed. I guess.
He hid in the house before he. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
They think so. But I felt what felt like a feather or a hair on one side of my face run down my cheek and down my neck. And I didn't think it was anything. I just kind of brushed it off. I thought maybe, hey, it's just like a hair on my jacket. And then I walked into the kids' room and sat down on one of the beds, and I felt the same exact thing on the other side of my face.
Oh, wow.
Same thing. And it didn't feel malicious or weird, but I think it was legit as far as being touched. And the other thing, too, that happened is, which I mentioned to you before, they don't know exactly when the kids were murdered. They think it may have been around 2 o'clock in the morning or 1 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
But around 2:30 or so, or 3 o'clock, we smelled what sounded like urine in the
God.
kids' room. Very strong, which sounded like it was literally like a porta-john, all
Like
over
fresh.
the place. Yeah, like really hardcore. But still, it was fucking bizarre, man. And not to mention that we captured audio of like after doing a lot of provoking, we'd go out of the room, go out of the house to the next door to grab a soda or whatever, and we captured audio of stuff being pushed around and moved around and things. It is the creepiest, darkest place I've ever been in my life. Hands down.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, personally, I've never purposefully been to an area to ghost hunt with the intention to capture something. And it makes you, in my personal opinion, it makes me wonder, like, how many of these, if this is legit, okay, like,
Yeah.
I'm probably more open than Mike is with this stuff, or accepting of it, because I'm throwing out ideas to try to capture what might be real. Maybe it's just the imaginative side. I have no idea. But I've never been to a specific situation to look for that, which makes me wonder if all this shit is happening around us, and when you decide to focus your attention on actually looking for it, what will you find?
Oh, I hear what you're saying.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, like, it's not like we're just chilling in our house going, you know what? I'm going to capture some ghosts today.
I'm going to capture the shit out of these ghosts.
But there could literally be, like, just, like, voices, like EVPs, or, that you could capture literally around you.
Yeah.
Maybe I should tell one of my stories.
Oh, do it.
And what happened with me.
Well, do it. I'm going to drink some more of this Jack.
Oh, please. Here you go. You're going to need it.
Very much.
I think it was about 2-3 years ago.
Okay.
In my house. Now,
in this house or a different house?
in this house.
Oh, wow.
Where we're recording. This is
Okay.
my house, by the way,
haunted.
guys. But my dog had passed away. But it was shortly thereafter, probably like a month or two after, and me and my girlfriend walked through the front door. We had gone out to get some soda or something like that to bring back to the house. And I remember that we had gotten up very early that day. So we got up at like 9 or 10, and then we left and came back at like noon. We walk in the front door. We walk into the living room, and in the back of my head, I heard somebody talking. And it sounded like a regular conversation that someone would be having if they were just sitting in the house talking.
That's weird.
Like, very clear.
Huh.
And so in my mind, I kept thinking to myself, okay, I'm probably just hearing like a TV, or I just wrote it off.
Yeah.
Which is why I say, like, how many things do we write off?
I know.
Like, we don't know. But then Christina, my girlfriend, she was like, did you hear that? And I was like, yeah, I did hear that. Because, like, I was, like, trying to brush it off.
Yeah.
But when she confirmed it, then I was like, okay, yeah, I wasn't the only one that heard that. And so she said, I felt like somebody was talking. I swear to God, I heard someone talking.
Did it sound like it was actually, like, physically in the room?
Yes,
acoustic?
it sounded like
okay.
there was somebody in that same room that we were just...
Wow.
And I'm not saying that, like, our house is, like, made in the 70s, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it wasn't,
yeah.
like, old. But there's vents, and we're really close to our neighbors and shit, but there would have been a muffle of some sort.
No, I hear you.
And it totally sounded like someone was in the room. Enough that we actually searched, and we went room to room with me in front, leading the way, to find somebody in our house. And we literally searched everywhere in the house. We went in the closet and all this other shit, and lo and behold, nothing. So... okay, so that's kind of freaky, right? That's a little freaky.
Well, it's just interesting regardless.
Yeah, I mean, I was just like, I at least have to check it out because it sounded so real.
Oh, I know. Dude,
I started thinking it was a big joke. Yeah. I was like making fun of it. And I was like, oh, Christina's crazy. And I stood in the hallway in the center of the house, and I was like, come at me, ghosts! Come at me! She got pissed. She got really pissed at me for that.
Really? Oh, man, dude.
She was like, what the fuck are you doing? Don't tempt that shit. Like, don't try to bring it out. And I was like, oh, come on, and nothing's going to happen. And this is at, like, 2 o'clock or whatever.
Oh.
It was later in the day, and I was
Yeah.
making jokes about it. Probably because somewhere deep down it probably freaked me out.
Oh, yeah.
So then I go to bed later that night, and I can't remember when, but I think she was in bed first, and I went to bed, and I had this crazy dream. And I used to have a very similar dream. It wasn't identical, but it was very similar.
Okay.
Where I would befriend demons.
Oh, okay.
If you remember me telling you this.
Yeah.
So I was befriending demons. And these guys were just regular guys, you know, but they were like demons. So I was trying to be like cool with them so they wouldn't fucking murder me in my dream, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm going to get the fuck out of here as soon as they trust me. And then I remember getting really freaked out in the dream, and I woke up in a panic.
Shit.
And I was like sweaty and shaky and freaked out. And then I woke up, and that's when I heard something slapping the bed over and over for over a minute.
That's weird.
My first reaction, and a lot of people will say, oh, you just had sleep paralysis or whatever. And maybe I did. I don't think I did because I was moving my arms. So I don't know if there's like a sleep paralysis that you can move your arms in.
It's possible, but if you could move and do stuff, I mean...
I would think it's not, right?
Yeah,
It's not categorically sleep paralysis.
Yeah.
So, I mean, granted, I had never been that scared in my entire life.
Wow.
Because I was, one, coming up from a dream that already puts you in a panic. And then something was slapping the end of my bed. And I was like panicked. I really didn't know what to do. So I reached over and immediately touched Christina and was like, Christina, wake the fuck up. There's something fucking slapping the bed. Do you fucking hear that? And it was still slapping the bed as I was saying that to her. And when she came to, she heard it like, 3 or 4 more times.
Wow. So she physically heard it?
She heard it too.
That's crazy.
And she attributed it to the cat, which just so happened to be at the end of the bed.
Huh.
But to put a little context into how loud and powerful this pounding on my bed was at the foot of my bed, it sounded like somebody was like literally throwing something heavy at the bed, like someone was patting the bed like with force.
That's
like
crazy.
Really,
dude.
like, hey, wake up kind of attitude. But it was rhythmic, and it wasn't like.
And that's in this house we're in right now.
Yeah, it's in this house.
Fuck, we're gonna need to do some fucking EVP shit in here, dude.
Dude, and I posted this online. Some people made fun of me.
No,
and,
fuck them, dude.
And maybe they're right. I don't know. It could have been the cat.
Well,
but I doubt it, because if I threw my cat at the bed, I might be 60 to 75% of the power that this was hitting my bed.
Yeah.
And I remember reaching over to my phone to look, and it was like a movie. Like I reached over, and I turned on the light, and I shined it at the wall, and then I slowly looked at the bottom. And I was so petrified to look what was, because I knew something was there.
Dude, and you know what, too? Ryan had the same kind of experience.
Yeah?
Not with slapping on the bed, but he felt like when he was younger, someone was sitting on the edge of his bed. So
I've heard people say that, too.
That's his early paranormal experience of him waking up and having the indent on the bed when someone's sitting there.
Oh, he saw the indent.
Well, I don't know if he saw it, but I know he felt it. And but I'm just bringing it up because it's very similar.
I had a skeptic friend who never believed in any of that shit at all, and one day he was at my friend's house and saw something. He saw the cushion depress, like as if someone sat on it.
That's crazy.
And he was in such a panic. And I remember how he used to make fun of me for thinking that some of this shit might be real.
Wow.
I was young, but he was really freaked out. And he became a believer instantly overnight. I guess that's like some of our stories here, guys. I know that we've been talking for quite a while. But, Mike, I think this is fun, man.
I know. It's really clicking. I mean, I want to do more.
Yeah, man.
This is awesome.
So guys, I think we're going to try to, we've just talked about what we're going to do. We really don't know. We don't even know the name. We're probably going to add it in to the beginning of this episode before it's even actually official. So we don't even know, but we're thinking about putting in some news. We're talking about like picking a theme for each one and just kind of going with it. We're just kind of off the cuff. Yeah, we just want to have fun.
Yeah, it's like, I just know like I watch a lot of horror. I watch a lot of sci-fi.
Right.
Oh, and we'll have to talk about this once we're off the air. I have another idea for another show or another episode, because I I have a lot of ideas. I mentioned earlier. I have a lot of ideas that I'm working on for new projects.
Oh yeah,
I want to discuss. It might be cool to openly discuss.
Sure.
Because I don't know where to go with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No. I'm down. That'd
input.
be a good segment that we could do in there.
Yeah. But no, it's awesome, dude. It's
Creative corner or whatever. Horror corner.
But no, it's been awesome, man. It's been really cool.
Yeah, man. I'm really excited about this, guys. If you guys, well, you probably won't even hear this part, but we're going to have a name by the end of this. Yeah. And so it'll be at the beginning of this episode, so you won't even know. And I don't know why I'm telling you this. So, but we're drunk, and thank you. If you're listening, like, seriously, if you're a fan of horror and you just like horror, and you can relate to anything that we said or have questions about anything we said, let us know in some way. Share it.
No, for sure, man.
So, but yeah, Mike, awesome. I'll see you next time.
This Wednesday, August 10th, for a special second episode of Beyond the Veil.